One murder every 30.5 minutes. One robbery every 1.7 minutes. One assault every 21.7 minutes. And over 85,000 active missing people. Crime happens anywhere and anytime. Thousands of unsolved cases causing time to stand still for its victims. The crime clock is ticking. The alarm has sounded. It's time for Crime Time.
And it is. It's time for Crime Time. I'm Jerry Dean, and we have Stacy Smith and Sarah Block with us.
Hi.
Hi. And before we begin, I wanted to remind everybody, if you're looking for us, to go to our Crime Time Facebook page, and you will find us there, and you'll find links. We're also on Spreaker.com for the podcast, and also YouTube. So you have a choice. If you want to listen to the audio and download it, you can go to Spreaker or iTunes or get our RSS feed and listen to us that way. But if you want to watch us as we're doing the show, you can go to YouTube, and we have both there, the audio and the video. So make sure you check us out on YouTube, subscribe over there, and you can listen to us or subscribe everywhere that you find us and become one of our followers so you can catch every show, right? You don't want to miss anything. You never know what we're going to be talking about. I wanted to go back and talk about the Andrea Knabel case. We had a lot of people that sent us messages regarding that case and gave us some information about it that we didn't already know or wanted to remind us of things that was going on with that case. One in particular is Lisa. She left us a message, and she says, I enjoy listening to you guys. Oh, thanks, Lisa. And she says, but her name is Andrea Knabel. So you do say the K. And it's pronounced as it's spelled. And she wanted us to also know that Andrea left and came back the next day to get her car that broke down on the expressway back in January. And it was totaled. It had been snowing that night, so no one knows if it was a snowplower or who it was that hit the car. So that was the hit and run. Not that she was in the car, but she was. It got hit and run when no one was in the car. So.
Yeah, I think we mentioned the hit and run, but that we were just meaning that's why she was didn't have a vehicle, and was having to, try to get a ride from someone because her vehicle was out of pocket because this hit and run, and so that's created some issues for her for work, and I think that was one of the things that they thought maybe contributed to some of the hard times that she was having, and so it sounds like a lot was kind of going
on with her. And then I got go ahead, Sarah.
Oh yeah, I was going to agree. Just
okay.
A lot of bills, and then that impacting you getting to your job and getting your kids around.
When you're a single mother and you're trying to make everything come together, I'm sure that this was a biggie for her.
Yeah, I bet.
I know about when your wheels are gone. That's a major when you live in Texas.
And then we got for sure. And then we got a message too, some emails, and one of them they don't want to say who their name is, but they also told us that Andrea's kids are with their fathers and one of the stepmoms, and that Andrea had them every other weekend. It says Holly Crick, who was a good friend of Andrea, was missing around the same time last year. So she said she left on her own with a boyfriend, and that MIA did not find her, although they did take credit for it. And there's a little bit more about Thomas Smith and the music videos that he's did, and that is about it that I wanted to share with everybody. But the other part is we actually heard from Nancy, the founder of Missing in America, who's out there looking for Andrea. Nancy left some messages for us, and I wanted to read what she had to say to everybody. One of the posts she put on here for us, it said, first off, it's Jennifer, not Jessica. And she's talking about Jennifer Klein. Yeah, I did call her Jessica. And we found out, I realized after the show that I called her Jessica when it was supposed to be Jennifer. But Nancy goes on and says, second, you're missing key facts here. When Michelle Hooper contacted me, and she's talking about the the hoax regarding Michelle Hooper was actually Jennifer Klein. And she says, when Michelle Hooper contacted me, she provided 1 year proof of her trying to get DNA done. No one helped her. As a person who gives a voice for the missing, she provided me very good possible evidence. All she wanted was a DNA case. All we wanted was a DNA case. They gave her 4 DNA tests. The last test, law enforcement, as per Michelle, told her she was a 100% match and provided an audio of it. After that, red flags went up for me, so I called the detective in her state that was handling the DNA process. After speaking to him, I was informed he was declined telling her that. So evidently the detective says, no, he did not say that to Michelle. Third, the PI, that would be Tracy Leonard, right? Didn't raise the reward. He offered it out of his pocket. So Tracy is the one that came up with the $1,000. Remember we were talking about that reward?
Yes.
Yeah. Please get your facts straight before slandering people. I don't know that we've slandered anybody, but that's her opinion. No one has any fundraising. The reason they searched my husband's home is because, and she's talking about Thomas Smith, is because someone called in fake a tip. Remember we were asking why or who did that? So she's saying the reason they searched my husband's home is because someone called in a tip.
We didn't realize that maybe that the husband and Andrea could have possibly been friends before, so this might have been a natural place for them, to check. I mean, if she had just went to visit because maybe they were friends and that's some place that she would have went. She was upset, and it sounded like she was.
But don't Nancy and Thomas have the same residence?
I'm not sure about that. I'm looking through which
split up, but I mean, I would definitely need to check on that because I didn't think they were together anymore.
So she says Thomas was arrested for back child support. Everybody kind of knows that already, and then he got out the next day. And I also had some information that someone who got him out, but I don't think I'm going to say that person's name right at this point in time, because if they want everybody to know that they bailed out Thomas, they could say it themselves.
Right.
So Nancy says, please get your facts straight. Well, I think we got them pretty straight, but we, don't know everything. And if we did say go through the whole case, we would have had to have about 5 hours to do that. So there was a lot that we didn't say.
Jerry, I think that we mentioned that because, this was something that we were just learning about, and we don't know all the details. And so we're glad that Nancy reached out to us to clear up anything that we don't have correct, because that's what we're trying to do, is sift through this mountain of information, and we definitely don't want to say anything that's incorrect. And any information we are more than welcome to look at. One of the things that I don't know if we touched on was that the last time that her phone was used is when she had left upset from the sister's house the night she went missing, and that it has not been used again. I think it was like around 2:12 a.m. is the last ping from her phone. And so that cell phone has not. And that's very worrisome to me because, you would think that she would be using her cell phone.
Let me go on more with what Nancy has to say. She said he was, we got that. And she says, please get your facts straight. We said that. And Nancy says, you should have made contact with me before doing this. I didn't know that. I didn't know we were supposed to contact her first.
Missing person would have a main contact as their nearest relative, like the sister or a parent. I think the sister and the dad have been in the news for looking for Andrea Knabel.
When I was looking at those numbers, they have this missing hotline. They have the Mr. Leonard, the private investigator, and then another private investigator that I believe works with Mr. Leonard. And then they do list Nancy, but she is 4th or 5th on the list.
Right, that's true. And this,
of course, in the age of free speech and our disclaimer that we're not detectives or any law enforcement agency, what kind of permissions do we need to form our opinions about cases that are out there in the open?
Discuss them, because really
the authorities are trying to solve
her home safely as well. That's we would like. That's why we have stressed so much. That it's dangerous, it's reckless for this to be not considered as a full-blown missing persons case. case, and so
yeah, there's a real case out there.
Attention to the case and try to help her find her way home. And so
she's posted. Andrea Knabel has posted out there on NamUs.org. So there's an actual true missing report. Even we're still under that 30-day mark, I guess. Or no, actually, we just passed up the 30.
We are, yeah. I think she was gone in
missing August 13th.
Yeah, August 13th.
Yes. Also, friends have created a Facebook page to try to help bring her home, and so that's another resource if anyone is needing some more information that they could go to.
All right.
I think Jerry had one comment where someone had said where her boys were.
Yeah, that was in the other information that we got, yeah.
I know that they mentioned that she had been visiting with her sister, that her sister lives a couple of blocks, and so I don't know.
Erin.
But I thought that maybe they were with the sister.
And
yeah.
The sister was the one that put in the report a few days after having...
A few days after. There's some people wondering why she took so many days to do that, but sometimes you could make a report, but maybe you won't get out into the world until a couple of days later. I don't know, unless we talk to her about that.
Might be a good time. Yeah, we had mentioned that we would love to speak with her sister, Jerry. I mean, if I think her sister's name is Erin, and so we would love to talk to her because I believe that she could answer some of these questions, and that we would be more than glad to talk to her and try to help get the word out that her sister is missing. So please reach out to us. We would love to hear from you and help in any way that we possibly could.
All right.
Do private investigators generally talk to people asking about cases, or they tend to be more just what information they put out?
Information they put out.
Mr. Leonard, we would love to hear from you, and I mean, it seems like you're doing some good work. I believe I was the one that had said something about the actual reward, and I mean, I think that someone donated $1,000. I mean, that is great. What I was trying to say, the only thing that I was implying was that amount, it was, as far as other rewards, it's low, and so I didn't know if other people had not been asked to donate. No disrespect at all to Mr. Leonard, who was offering that reward, and I hope that something comes through.
And
yes.
Speaking of Mr. Leonard, he did have some type of thing he put out there, a post, where he was making a reference to not having any affiliation that questioned money being gained.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Jerry said the last time that she felt like that he was very well thought of, and that no one had any kind of questions or concern where his intentions were, and so I think that was worth mentioning again. If there was any kind of misunderstanding there, I'm glad that was brought up.
Right. All right, let me finish what else she said here. Nancy says, when you're bullied, you get tired of being attacked with slander and lies. Yes, I may have not gone about things in the past. Yes, I may have not gone about things in the past the wrong way. So I think she means, yes, I may have gone about things in the past the wrong way, but my heart was always in the right place. The tip was a clear attack, meaning that tip with Thomas. I welcome you all to reach out, and you can. Which I have. I've reached out to her and I haven't heard back from her. But she also left quite a few other posts here too. She says, on a side note, I like what you ladies are doing. So thank you for that, Nancy. And she says there are 126 sex offenders in that area. And I think she's implying that could it be one of those guys could have taken her. I don't know.
Oh, I certainly hope not.
And then the last thing she writes is, I have proof the Victim News online article says the DNA was in. I have an email proving NamUs saying her DNA wasn't back. I still don't know the outcome. I have an email proving NamUs saying, it says name and then the other word us. I think she's seeing NamUs.gov saying her DNA wasn't back. I still don't know about the outcome of the DNA. And I kind of think back, and we're talking about the Michelle Hooper case, we're talking about it quite a ways back, at least a couple of years, I think, when this came about. And I thought I remembered that the DNA did come back and that the law enforcement did say that she was not a match. But maybe they've got another DNA was done, and that's the one she's referring to. And other than the emails, and we've got a lot of emails, a lot of instant messages, and a lot of posts on our videos regarding this case. But other than that, I don't think there's any new information. No sightings of Andrea Knabel that I've heard of, and that's it. Everything's pretty much the same as it was before.
I think that I mentioned this to you ladies earlier, is that worries me, that concerns me. We are at the 30-day mark. There has been no pings off of her cell phone. There's been no family members contacted, no friends. And, I think that maybe Nancy or Thomas or Mr. Leonard could, tell us more about that. But it doesn't seem like that she's reached out to any of the people, her sister, that they could kind of give us some information there. The best that we can, knowledge that we can gather is that she hasn't reached out to anyone, and so we're very concerned at this point. This is 30 days and no
30 plus days, yeah.
So what also I want to remind everybody is that when she left, this was in the wee hours of the morning, and she was upset, and she was needing a ride. And so I think they said that not Uber, but a Lyft driver was in the area, but that something had not worked out. And so I think what they're concerned about is maybe she had taken a ride from someone, out of maybe desperation, because she had tried several friends. She had tried to FaceTime a friend. This is just really concerning. Nobody can actually say, well, this is how she got from point A. We don't even really know where she went, right?
No.
I didn't even know if it was confirmed if she took a Lyft or an Uber.
No, she didn't. What I read from Heavy.com was that she had tried to get a ride from a friend, and then she had tried to FaceTime a friend, but of course they were asleep. And then she had tried several others, and that she had even tried to get like a Lyft ride, but it did not pan out.
That's one other detail I would want to know from the sister or from the friend Nancy would be, or anybody who has any idea about more of the basics that we're trying to cover, would be, okay, so she left her sister's house in the middle, late night for a
2 o'clock, around 2 o'clock, yes.
Young, beautiful, unaccompanied female walking on the streets, not getting a ride, or maybe trying to get a ride, but where was her destination? And if you knew someone left in an argument, what level of do you not worry about where your family member goes or see them get a ride? Or do you,
what else? Sarah,
let them walk into the distance at 1 a.m. down the streets? I don't know. That doesn't add up.
Well, and also, if she definitely wasn't going home, because that was just a few, they said that she just lives a few blocks from her sister. And so you could see where she could probably make it, a couple of blocks. But she really wouldn't need a ride if she was headed home. So she
I know. I wonder if she could have been. I wonder if she could have been heading to where her boys were.
I assumed that her boys were there with her at her sister's, but we should not assume anything.
We are missing some basics. We're missing them. That means the general public doesn't know either, right?
When I have a general idea of what the person was doing, then it just helps to try to figure out what their mindset was or what their alternatives. Kind of like you're saying, Sarah, maybe she was trying to get to her sons. I was thinking she was trying to get home, but then that didn't make sense because she only lives 2 or 3 blocks from this sister. She wouldn't need a Lyft ride necessarily unless it's an unsafe area that she did. But it doesn't sound like that, because it sounds like they're often out doing yard work. One of the articles that I read was that her and her sister do a lot of stuff together, and that they generally talk at least every day.
And they sound close.
Yeah, and that they do yard work and stuff together. And that's concerning. If that sister has not heard from her, then that would definitely alarm me as well. She's used to talking to her on a daily.
Yeah. If you got any more information or anything, you can certainly give us a holler, and we will look at it and then relay it to the public. Or if there's tips that you just want us to know, to where we can do some more research and find out, and maybe even lead to where she's at, that'd be great too.
And Jerry, I do want to add these numbers. Okay?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
The missing hotline, it's 502-574-5673. Or if you are more comfortable contacting Mr. Leonard, private investigator, it's 502-618-9337. So please, anyone that has information, reach out. He obviously needs the public to get involved here and bring her home.
All right.
And again, anyone watching the show, we're covering that case out of Louisville, Kentucky.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. All righty. Share this with you guys. I was looking around ever since we did that Richardson case where she was a teen when all that happened, where she said that had her child and she said the child was stillborn. I was kind of looking at other cases with teens and stuff, and I ran across a couple here that I thought was kind of interesting and want to tell everybody about. There's this young man back in, comes from People. There was this young kid, 16 years old, who called 911 and said he thought his dad was dead. And he said that his dog, and this is in quotes, dog got his collar wrapped around his dad's throat. His face is purple and his heart's not beating. Emergency came over and they picked him up and they took him to the hospital and he died 3 days later. This teenager is saying that the dog got his leash wrapped around his dad's neck and choked him to death.
I know. I mean, it actually inverts.
This is serious stuff. Stop that.
I'm sorry.
It sounds just as lame as one of my kids, if we did have a dog, telling their teacher, the reason that I don't have my homework is the dog.
Ate it.
A grown adult, as long as he's not asleep or unconscious, or if you start having something wrap around your neck, we're pretty vulnerable creatures. We need to breathe. We need our esophagus or whatever. You don't want to cut off the air supply. If a dog starts somehow having their leash anywhere near our neck, our instinct would be, quick, don't have some fluke accident, and you would protect yourself. In other words, that's a real hard story to buy.
It really is, and they don't even say what the size of the dog is. I mean, it's even going to be more atrocious if it turns out it's a Pekingese or something. I mean, come on,
I'm not laughing at the atrocious thing of anything horrible happening to someone, but it's the atrocious story. Right.
I am really not. And so,
but I mean, it's an atrocious. It's a far-fetched concept for that to be real, right?
It is, and
I apologize.
no, that's all right. Everybody, I'm sure. Well, I think.
I don't know how these first responders. I don't know how they reacted to that. But,
well. This is the part, hold your thought for a minute. Well, I missed the first part, but the first responders, they found the dad, Bill Bishop was his name, in a leather chair. So somehow the dog got up on his lap, up on his shoulders, wrapped the leash around his neck, and choked him off, and then, I don't know. I mean, the dog actually had to get up on the chair to do this.
The little chihuahuas like to get up around the neck.
Oh, you will?
Actually, I think it was a golden Labrador.
Was it? So the golden Labrador retriever.
I think of as being a family dog.
Oh, or maybe he was standing by the chair when the dog, or maybe he was laying down on the floor. The dog wrapped the thing around her, and then he stood up, and then he collapsed into the chair. I don't know how this happened. I can't figure this out.
You don't imagine a vicious dog.
Be laughing. We're gonna get the giggles again over this thing.
Just imagine it. Laugh. Having these amazing calls.
Something happened to this gentleman, and I know, crazy things have happened, and I realize that. Sometimes really strange things happen, and so, you know what, I just want to, I don't know, I wish I was a CSI or something, because I would love to try to reenact that scenario and see if there was any way possible that if it was, because what they would do is they would take away the leather recliner was sitting there from that angle, and they would look at
one of those shows proving or disproving any kind of.
Okay, so listen, we are reaching out. If there is anyone, that the Mythbusters.
Oh, please don't.
Oh, come on.
Someone do this. Please.
No, we don't want to have that.
I know, yeah, don't know what to do it.
Well, so I did read that story when Jerry shared it with me, and when you recognize the context of, I believe the parents' divorce had finalized 2 weeks prior, and I think his disdain for his dad. There definitely had to have been high emotions and conflict already in that. It sounds like a strained enough relationship. So when you put that in context to some flukish, strange story, I believe they said the autopsy showed strangulation or...
Yes, it did. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Where the family is saying, I think he had a heart attack. So there's kind of three stories going along. Well, two stories, but strangulation sounds... That could be consistent with a leash if that was the method used. If a person did it more than I believe a dog did it. But the autopsy doesn't say anything about a heart attack. So to me, I'd look again, like Jerry was comparing the Skylar cheerleader case with the infant. She was comparing how like the families react. I look at that case of the young man as the families wanted to kind of, what's his life going to look like, whether he did it or not, whether he's guilty or not. So trying to say that Bill Bishop had a heart attack or the family thinks it went into cardiac arrest sounds a little bit more like you're reaching and grasping for something that can help explain away something you can't change, but look at how it's going to impact this young man's future. You just don't want to cover for if someone really did flat out kill their dad, though. Cases of that.
Well, they did. So
it's kind of interesting here, and I might be kind of jumping the gun if I am, Jerry. You can tell me. I understand that there is some other things going on with this case that it's pretty interesting. That the evidence that's being used in this case thrown out, because they're claiming that the Durham police that the investigator lied to get access into the home, that they misrepresented a document over sold bars. It just keeps getting more bizarre, really.
Right. So that they have
got access to the home, the computers, cell phones, bank records, and so that all of this information could be thrown out if it was taken.
Oh, really?
Not following, the proper procedure. So that's a shame.
Well, that's the part I was going to tell everybody that's listening. That the son now is up on murder charges, and I guess they're trying to. I'm trying to get this page to go up. It's kind of stuck where it's at. Oh, here we go. Where you said about the gold bars. Oh, here we go. That in the affidavit, the investigators found a purchase order for gold bars. And there goes the page again, and they can't find those. It was something like hundreds of thousands of dollars in gold bars, and they can't find the gold bars. They don't know where the gold bars are.
Well, listen, it says that possibly in 2016, Bill Bishop had sold these. That an attorney, Alan Sharp, who represents the teen charged with killing the 59-year-old developer, Bill Bishop, argues that the gold wasn't missing because Bill Bishop had sold it in 2016. So,
but they were grasping.
There you go. There you go.
Find a way to get in. Well, but that makes you wonder. The teenager had called 911, and that means that they would come to the residence, and naturally you would invite them in.
Well, now, this may not have been at the same time, Sarah. This may have been after the
fact. I think it was a couple years.
So I will check that because I'm not sure on exactly. But I'm going to tell you, I will have to say, Jerry, I had taken a look at this case, and I am so glad that you decided to talk about it. And I do apologize for my giggling. But in all seriousness,
we're not laughing about.
I think this is going to be an interesting story to follow. And I'm really glad that you brought it to our viewers' attention and everything, because there's just so many interesting facets of this case. And I mean, just the fact that this Mr. Bishop, it sounds like that maybe there's been some material allegations thrown around, and so I mean, it sounds like that there was a whole lot at play here.
And there's one more that I wanted to bring up, other than the Bishop case, is another teen. Let me bring it up real quick. Who hired, here he goes.
Teen Week.
Yeah, Teen Week, yeah. She hired somebody to murder her parents.
Yes.
And she stole her parents' debit card and used it to help her pay two people to kill her parents. Alyssa Hatcher, 17, was arrested Monday in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And guess how much? Two separate transactions. One is $503 and the other was $926. She was going to give to somebody to kill her parents. That's how much her parents' lives were worth, with either $500 or $923. It's just ridiculous.
I'm familiar with this case, Jerry, but what immediately comes to my mind, was this someone that was just pretending like they were going to do this for this girl, or was this someone that was seriously considered doing this for that would equal approximately $1,000?
Right. So she paid one person $400 to kill her parents, and she gave another person $900 to do it, but neither one of them carried it out. And then she also used $100 that was left over to buy cocaine.
Oh,
so
don't forget your cocaine.
Yeah, I know. So she was so one of the people that she paid to do the killing actually went to the police and told them what she had done.
So what was
That's how she got caught.
Her life that motivated her to want to get rid of her parents?
Well, evidently they had a couple of dollars, and I guess she felt she was going to inherit that. And this other.
More of it. It seems like that she would have been more successful had she have tried to use more of it to hire for this hire to,
Right. Yeah. So that was Fox News, and I'm looking at Abilene Reporter, and now they're saying that she got $1,400. Facts kind of change a little bit when you go from one story to the other. It was a suspect's boyfriend told the detectives that he'd seen her at a known drug house Monday morning where she told him of her plan to kill her parents, and that's from the Abilene Reporter News. But the
Abilene, Texas?
Abilene, these newspapers, I don't think it's Abilene, but she was in Florida.
My mind went to Texas.
Yeah.
This is in Florida.
Right.
Okay.
So the teen parents were not injured, and they have pressed charges on her.
Well, yes, I'm sure. And can you imagine the magnitude of how that feels? We worry about things in life. We worry about keeping our teens safe and about keeping our families safe. And
avoiding a car accident, house fire.
Yeah.
Your child. Yes, just all the things that can happen. And
teaching your children right from wrong.
Yes, and then to find out that the thing that you're having to worry about is your own child trying to take you out. And I know this is not something new to the public or to us here in America, but thank goodness they found out before she was able to go through with this. But that just really, my heart goes out to these parents that I'm just trying to sit here and think about how people are feeling.
Well, how the heck do you ever trust your child again? It's one thing if they steal money. I know. You don't want the kid in the house anymore because maybe they'll do something again. It's one thing if they steal money from you. It's one thing if they stole the car from you. These are all bad things. But when you find out your child wants to kill you, how can you ever have... I know you're supposed to have unconditional love, but I'm sure that they're still going to love their daughter no matter what. But does it mean that they're going to ever trust her again or even like her anymore?
At that point, how old did you say this girl was?
She was 16. Yeah, she was 17.
Okay.
17-year-old.
I'm wondering at that point, what happens to the parent-child responsibility? When you know that by having this child in your home, that you're putting yourself, and I don't know if they're siblings or what, but it's like that having this child in your home, that you could easily, could definitely, come to you or your family members. And so I'm just wondering, does that, because as parents, we have the responsibility of financially providing for our children. That's just to mention the legal obligations, not to mention just our other obligations that are, depending on what our personal beliefs are. I don't know. To me, at this point, there is a dissolve of that. At that point, maybe it's time for this 17-year-old to become an adult and have to start fending for themselves. And I don't mean just turn your back, but probably try to. Is there help for that sort of thing? I don't know.
Yeah, there's got to be.
What kind of help do you? Therapy. I mean,
well, in terms of
you sleep at night.
In terms of all that parents do for that K through 12 age, or until they hit that age 18 of adult, 17 is pretty much near that end of what the parents can do in terms of the legal adult age.
Right.
And of course, trying in law for a murder to hire plot, they may not look at her as a juvenile.
Yes. Yeah.
About as well. It's, also, and these days, with a lot of, some kids go on to college and stuff. And so, you think, okay, well, at 17, she's fixing to be an adult, so she's out. But, if you're a parent that you're thinking in terms of, okay, my child's fixing to go off to college and this and that, it's really not that cut and dry. It's not like they turn 18 and then you're done. It seems like that when you have kids go on to college, that you financially, you keep, that responsibility is there.
The current generation is very much kids lingering at home and maybe not motivated to get licensed, maybe not motivated for college, maybe not motivated to drive, maybe just kind of realizing everything's so dang expensive. Why do I need to leave my parents' house and their assistance with insurance and food on the table, and when I need new tennis shoes or a work uniform, or if they're working.
Yeah.
Let's hope they're not just playing video games all day.
Yeah. Well, I'm really, the parents, the fact that they actually went ahead and pressed charges, I got to give them credit for that. That cannot have been an easy thing to do. Because now the child has a record, and it's a very good possibility she may be charged as an adult. And that's on her record from now on out. So it's that child is not, well, she's not that much, she's almost 18, but she's got that for the rest of her life to carry around. And her parents, I'm sure, considered that before they press charges. Are we going to ruin the rest of her life over this? And they go, well, hell yes, we are. That was one step too far.
They would lose their life. You know what I mean? And so they must know some details and know that, it sounds like this girl was serious. She had reached out to more than one, person. And so, I don't have that much detail there, but whatever information they had, it felt like to them that it was a serious threat. And so they did press the charges. And, this might, I don't know, that might ultimately be what saves this girl. Maybe when she gets into the system, then they can figure out what type of help. If she is found guilty, then they can put her on a path of the kind of therapy, or I don't know. I don't even know what. I don't know what you would do for a child like that.
I don't either. I don't know either.
So, to know kind of what our viewers think about that. What do you think would be a possibility to help this girl? Do you think that this girl could be helped and that she could be rehabilitated and come back into society and part of her family without being a threat? What do you think, viewers, what do you think should happen to this girl? What do you think options should be? And if you were the parent or the judge in this case, what would you consider doing to rehabilitate her? So send us a message or go to our Facebook page, our YouTube page, and please let us know.
What I would like to know is if the viewers would forgive their child, if they would press charges or not. I would like to know what their stand is on that.
Yeah, what would it take for them to be able to forgive? That's a good question there, Jerry. I like that.
Alrighty. All right. So we're going to have, that's it for today. And find us on Facebook.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, iTunes, all that.
We'll see you next time.
We'll see you next time. All right. All right, Dean's going to take us out.
The views expressed on this podcast are personal opinions only. While all attempts are made to present accurate information, it may not be appropriate for your specific circumstances, and information may become outdated over time. Crime Time Podcast does not assume any liability with regard to results based on the use of information provided here. Furthermore, advertisers, commentators, and leaked sites are solely responsible for their views and content, which does not necessarily represent the views of Crime Time. We welcome you to download and play the podcast and share with others for personal use. Please acknowledge the Crime Time Podcast as the source of the material. You may not, except with our express written permission, distribute or commercially exploit the content. The information is provided by Crime Time Podcast. We endeavor to keep the information up to date and correct. We make no representations or warranties of any kind, express or implied, about the completeness, accuracy, reliability, suitability, or availability with respect to the website or the information, products, services, or related graphics contained in the website for any purpose. Any reliance you place on such information is therefore strictly at your own risk. Thank you. And by all means, shove a few more words into these paragraphs so that I have to read complicated, comma-placed statements throughout an entire document and then try to record it in one take.